Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Welcome to today's episode of How to Ruin Your Reputation in 5 minutes or less. I'm your host, Louis Rossman. This is something that many people don't seem to learn, even though it is the mid-2020s. You cannot delete shit from the internet. It doesn't go away. You can respond to criticism on the internet, and you can own your mistakes. And if you do that, it doesn't matter how big your mistake is sometimes, you will be able to get out of it by just being honest with people, because your people that are watching your mistakes and listening to what you say, they are humans just like you, and they're going to have sympathy and empathy and at least more of it than they are if you try to delete people's shit. Whether we're talking about DCS Batteries, Deep Cycle Systems, who is suing small YouTubers that opens their batteries and provided them with honest reviews, who make batteries that are, not my opinion, objectively speaking, some of the shittiest stuff that money can buy. The Australian government spent millions of dollars testing all these different batteries, and you can tell without even looking at the legend which one is the company that tried to sue people to get their reviews taken down. Whether or not you think the taxpayers should be spending millions of dollars testing random batteries is not my business. I don't live in Australia. But moving on, this graph of their capacity could be overlaid a graph of their online reputation, and it will be completely accurate. What happens when you try to delete content from the internet is this: it doesn't work. All of the top results on Google are 1-star reviews, Reddit, Facebook posts, YouTube posts about how people are getting sued, the good, the bad, the ugly. This doesn't work. It doesn't work. When you delete something, people assume that it is because you have something horrible to hide. Erasing stuff off the internet doesn't work. Whether we are talking about somebody who makes batteries that are trash, or we're talking about somebody that almost kills kids by driving over 90 miles an hour in a fucking school zone. Not just for the Apple interview, you prick. This is something that I know about my own channel. When I look back at my old videos, I cringe. They are horrible. Not only was I not comfortable talking into a camera, I wasn't comfortable doing repairs on camera. I would get nervous because I knew people were watching, and I would do shit that was horribly stupid. And frankly, some of that stuff was just, we can erase it to 4 volts, and set. Yeah, like again, this video, not my best repair video, but I can't delete it. This over here, I'll just let this speak for itself. Needless to say, this was made before my company could afford a PC3000 or offered lab-level data recovery.
No, I'm not putting it down. So we're doing an SSD to SSD transfer here, and the only USB caddy that will work in the entire store is this one, but it's for a desktop drive, and it's going from USB caddy to SSD caddy to SSD with, as you can see with zoom, with absolutely no screw. So the way we're keeping this up, we can't put it against here because this is metal and there's circuitry on the other side of this board. So we're using a magnet over here to keep this spatula here, so that the wooden portion of the spatula will hold up the SSD, which will hold up the caddy, which is going to the computer that is on top of another MacBook Air, so that we can finish the data transfer.
I know firsthand that you cannot delete stuff from the internet. And if I were to Google something like hard drive data recovery Austin without actually paying for any SEO, my SEO budget is zero, my AdWords budget is zero, my company shows up with good reviews, and it also shows up as one of the first companies. The reason for this is that even with something like that, if you own it, it is a joke. It is something that from the early days of my business, it's better than if you delete it. Because if I delete that, people are going to go, wait a second, what is he hiding? If I take my video that used to be my main channel video, Rossman Rewind, where there was a motherboard that actually went on fire in the beginning, and I delete that in the middle of the stream, people are going to wonder, is this something where I planned to tell the customer you have to buy a new board after I set it on fire? Am I lying about my skills? Do I do that to every board? But if I just go, whoops, okay, let's figure it out and fix it, and I do it properly on camera, people will assume, okay, I fixed over 60,000 devices at this business, I made one mistake, everybody makes mistakes, he took accountability, responsibility, and he owned it. And then you're good. But there are people that don't understand that. There are people that think that you can actually erase something off the internet if you make a mistake, and that it will not come back to bite you in the ass. And the problem is that it doesn't matter, it always will. This is not 1964 anymore. We don't live in a world where people have no communication outside their friend and coworker circle of maybe max 40 people, where they get their information on what to buy from a magazine advertisement, a television ad, 1 or 2 newspapers, and a billboard. People go onto forums. People have the ability to talk to people who are experts in their field, who are trusted community elders, whether we're talking about Garf on hydrogen audio being able to explain the difference between the ZIF standard build of Og Vorbis versus the GT3 build of Og Vorbis, bogus, or we're talking about somebody like Tim Herman or Jessa Jones talking about board repair and that type of equipment. People like going to forums. They like going to these corners of the internet, IRC channels, anywhere else where they can really understand from smart people that really know their shit, that are trusted in the field, what it is they should and should not buy. And one of the people that has done an excellent job of this is a gentleman named Mended Mark. He reviewed this product over here. I'm not going to tell you the price of the product yet. I'm simply going to show you a picture of it, and I will allow you to guess how much this thing costs. You can see that this is a phono preamp. It has what looks like a standard design inside this box. It is using what looks like nylon headers over here instead of metal, which means that in shipping, there's a good chance of that PC board thing that's holding that up cracking, because this is just... I'll let you decide what you think this is worth. So this company decided they were going to do something to Mr. Mended Mark's videos. You can see that this is a 40-minute repair video where he goes over how to fix this product. He draws his own schematic of the product, and the reason this video is on archive.org rather than his YouTube channel is because it is not on his YouTube channel anymore, because that video has been erased. It is gone. He went over this in this video here. The 25-pound preamp repair and the copyright strike. I am not going to do an exact conversion here, but that's over 20,000 US dollars. It's way over 20,000 US dollars for a phono preamp. He has a great channel over here where he goes over how to fix all different types of audio gear. From new audio gear to 1979 tape decks, his videos are anywhere from a half hour to an hour and a half in length, and he goes through everything in detail so that you understand exactly what he's doing, so that you learn something from his repair videos, and so that you could replicate what he did, learn something, learn the underlying thought processes behind what he does, so that you could fix your own shit yourself using that type of equipment. It's a very good educational channel. And as a result of all the goodwill he's put out there, from all these hundreds of videos going over how to fix these products that he makes available to everybody for free, he is somebody who is trusted within that community. He's earned that trust, and that is the type of person where people are going to listen to when it comes to making their buying decisions. And it's not like everybody in the world is going to say, I'm not going to buy this if Mended Mark doesn't like it, but this is the type of place where your average consumer is going to have more trust in him than in some random billboard or magazine ad. His video got removed. Now let's talk about what he did in this video. What he did in this video is he took the product apart and he discussed its construction. He went over how it was using tantalum capacitors, which, as I've gone over on my channel, whether we're talking about audiophile gear or MacBook stuff, is not exactly always the best way to go for every application. These capacitors can fail, they can short very easy, and they can cause, whether it causes your MacBook to not turn on properly when it's cold, or whether we're talking about an audio device can be an issue. He was talking about these lovely headers that you see over here that would cause very, very easy and obvious damage in shipping to this device. He was talking about the poor packaging of the device. He was talking about how, and one of the best things here is how many of the audio chips and many of the regulators in there actually had the part numbers scraped off of it. Because again, if you're producing a device that's made like shit that costs over $20,000, you don't want people to know that you're using cheap ass shit in there. You don't want people to know that your console that costs over $500,000 has any 5532 op amps in it that, as Jim Williams would say, are so limited that when you put a bell tree through them, it just doesn't come out the other end. He went over this, and he made his own schematic for it because he didn't have one. This isn't like my channel where I am showing you Apple schematics, where on the bottom right of it, it says, do not reproduce, do not duplicate, do not show people. He literally took the time in a 40-minute video to write his own schematic on paper using, as he says, his own hand. He measured this thing to show you how garbage the power supply was in it and how much ripple there was on it with his own equipment. This is the ripple on the power supply of a $20,000+ piece of audio gear. And you can imagine that this has less to do with copyright and more to do with somebody who is selling a very, very, very overpriced piece of shit, doing everything they can to hide the fact that it is an overpriced piece of shit. The thing is, on the internet, is that you cannot delete something that you have posted, and you most certainly cannot delete what somebody else has posted without everybody hearing about it. I don't look at phono preamps. I'm gonna say something I'm not supposed to say here. I don't like vinyl very much. I don't like the little distortions in the background when a piano note is ending. I like good digital. I like good analog. If a Studer AA27 or 800, great. Consumer vinyl, ew. I don't like it. But I wouldn't have known about this. The only reason I even know about this is because the jackass that makes this product, who believes that he is making alien technology, I'm not fucking kidding there, was stupid enough to try and have this YouTube video deleted. I didn't even know his company existed, but now I know that his company exists and makes garbage. When you take a look at their website, this is where it just gets funnier and funnier, and this is where you kind of understand why a lot of the audiophile stuff can be bullshit. I'm an audiophile. I like high-end audio. I like my hi-fi. I like listening to stuff in a nice acoustically treated room. I am an audiophile, but I am not an audio fool, as you can tell if you read my guide over here, where I'm talking about setting up a good hi-fi in addition to how to self-manage and self-host everything from your own email system, home theater system, phone system. You can easily get amazing quality from a used set of Axiom M3 speakers, the $80 amplifier that I have from eBay, and the wire that I use that I got at Home Depot to connect my bike's motor controller to my bike motor. That is what is connecting my speakers. But I'm an audiophile. I'm not an audio fool. And this is the type of shit over here that just makes the entire concept of the audiophile ridiculous, because there are people that will read this and actually buy this. Let's go over it. Master Groove SR-M Mark III. Only 10 of these are made every year. So what? So what? Let's say I said I only do 10 repairs every year. Does that mean I'm the best repairman on earth? Does that mean that I'm so bad at what I do that it takes me a month to figure out a single repair? Does that mean that I spend the rest of my year in Barbados? Like, what is the problem there? So, such as the overwhelming complexity and workload of hand measuring and perfectly matching every component of this ultimate phono stage. This limited edition model is only available at a rate of 10 units per year. The reality is that this actually uses very standard off-the-shelf components like LM7815 regulators, which, again, to be clear, nothing wrong with it. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's just, really? You only make 10 a year because it's so fucking esoteric? Gargle my balls. And when you look at what's inside this thing, no, it uses standard crap. One of the things that you deal with when you deal with analog devices or Burr Brown or Texas Instruments, when you're buying chips from them, they will provide you with a data sheet. And that data sheet will often have a suggested sample circuit design. This is not as esoteric as he claims. This over here is an example of a reference circuit for a MacBook chip. I searched LP8550 datasheet, and you'll see something called typical application, where the manufacturer will show you how to utilize their chip inside of a product, and there's nothing wrong with using something that looks similar to the manufacturer's reference circuit. Texas Instruments, Burr Brown, Analog Devices, they have smart engineers and they make decent products. So they tell you, here's how you can implement it. And when you take a look at the design of this gentleman's $20,000+ product, you'll see that it actually is very close to the Burr Brown reference design in their data sheets from over 30 years ago. Which, again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a competent design. But like, overwhelming complexity only makes 10 units a year, worth $20,000 plus. Again, like, gargle my balls. We continue to read this website. I'm going to leave the best part of this piece of shit for last, because it's just this. I'm going to leave it best for last. You got a custom case with fully balanced XLR output circuit, as well as a single-ended RCA phono output. And again, when you're talking about a custom case, he's not lying to you there. This is a very custom case, because I can imagine that anybody who develops cases professionally for a living is not going to use these garbage standoffs here for something that is being shipped from one location to another all around the world, particularly when it's a $20,000 device. A case that is this shitty could only be custom, because nobody who's making cases that's making them in an assembly line environment would ever be able to stay in business if this is what they were producing. Nobody would pay for it. Our most sophisticated internal power supply design with a far more complex front gain end stage has over 50% less distortion than the already referenced Master Groove model. This provides the greatest dynamic range of any phono stage in the world by an incredible margin. And when you actually take a look at the video that he had taken down, it becomes very obvious why he had this video taken down. This is Mendit Mark demonstrating the quality of that power supply there, and you can see this has more ripple than a koi fish pond with over 30,000 gallons per hour of pumps moving it through not just one, but two Ultimate 2 filters and a waterfall with 4 Metallic sheets. In all seriousness, to be clear, is this the worst thing in the world if this thing cost $100? No. For over $20,000, only 10 of them made a year. This is pretty bad, particularly when we're discussing the fact that this thing implements and incorporates alien technology. No, I'm not fucking kidding. This is actually on this audiophile horseshit website. It says over here, the very ethos of this is the resolution of more detail, a set of measurements in such advanced set of measurements so in advance of the competition that it will be more akin to testing in advanced alien technology than measuring an electronic device. The only thing that is alien to me is how anybody in their right mind would spend over $20,000 fucking dollars on this after watching Mendit Mark's review. Alien technology. Are you fucking kidding me? This thing is even worse than the old SSL G9, G4000 or J9000 consoles, I forget, that use any 5532 op amps that, as Jim Williams would say, you can't put a bell tree through. It's just... And to be clear, when it comes to phono preamps, I'm not into the audiophile fool bullshit, but you're going to hear a difference in different qualities of audio, of phono preamps just because of the nature of what it is. We're not talking about a line level signal that is coming out of a DVD audio or a super audio CD player, which is usually low noise and line level. We're talking about a phono preamp for a record player. The signal coming out of it is very, very low, which means when you boost it, it's going to be subject to a lot of noise. There's already a lot of noise in there because it's vinyl, and as I may have said already, I don't like vinyl. I hate it. I shouldn't say hate. You intensely, like Sam Fields used to tell me, you hate nothing. You intensely dislike it. I don't like vinyl. When you hit a note in a piano and you hear the decay of it and you hear it on that versus anything else, it's just ew. Like good analog, Studer A800, absolutely. Studer A27, yes. Vinyl, did you design 888? No, like good digital, good analog. And vinyl to me is not it. But point being, because this is a vinyl preamp, you probably are going to be able to tell the difference in an ABX blind test between a cheap $50 piece of shit and a $500 one in the way that you just are not going to with a competently designed line level preamp. Does that mean this is worth over 20,000 bucks? Not even close. Not even close. There are devices that cost less than $1,000 that are infinitely better designed than this. Which is why, when Mendit Mark did an excellent video on it, it got taken down. I think that this video should be put back on his channel. I think he should be allowed to put it back on his channel. In fact, I actually asked him right over here because I think this would be funny. With your permission, I'd like to re-upload the video to my channel. Then if a fraudulent copyright claim is filed on my channel, I would fight it to the full extent of the law, to the point that a lesson is learned to never do this again. You do good work, I respect it, and I want to help send a message to companies that do this type of shit that it doesn't fucking work. These companies get away with this because they assume that people don't have the time, the energy, or the money to fight back. And as long as that continues to be the case, you'll see more of this. The fact that companies in 2024 actually feel confident enough to do this is the part that scares me. It's not even that YouTube took the video down. YouTube's system sucks. It has sucked for over 15 years. It's going to continue to suck into the next 15 years as long as Google exists because they don't care. They don't care about small creators. They don't care about creators in general. You could have 10 million subscribers and they still treat people like shit. What gets me is that they actually think that this is something that works. They think it's important to demonstrate that it doesn't work. And personally speaking, if I were to re-upload this video because I got permission from Mendit Mark to do so, and I got a copyright claim on it, this guy might actually have an excuse to sell something with a $24,950 profit margin, because he would need it to deal with the legal fees that he would have if he fraudulently gets shit removed from my channel. I fucking dare you. That would be a lot of fun. That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. Something tells me the sales of the Tom Evans Master Groove Mark III are probably going to go down over the next few months, which I think is a great thing. Even if this were the best designed product in the world, even if this had the audio quality of something from the 80s from Nelson Pass Labs, or Nelson Pass, because I think he started that company after he quit out of company. Anyway, doesn't matter. This is not the way to do business. Even if you made a better product, I would not want to support a company that goes out of their way to silence others who provide them with honest criticism. Above all, I don't want to support a company that breaks the law in this way. This is some sort of breaking the law for Robin Hood reasons, where you're breaking the law, but you're really doing it to help the little guy. This is a case of you are breaking the law by filing a fraudulent copyright claim. There is nothing fraudulent about a man who makes his own schematics. He made his own schematics for your product because you didn't offer the schematic. He wrote it. He did what he was supposed to do. He reverse engineered it. And you struck him anyway. Fuck you. That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. Are you going to buy a Tom Evans audio design preamp that costs over 20,000 bucks when it's put together like that? I wouldn't. See you in the next one. Bye now.